It's Matchday 17 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. We're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're brought to you by the SGPN College Football Playoff Challenge. Free to enter and a $1,000 grand prize. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP to enter today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Friday, December the 20th. We are here to cast our eye over the Premier League Matchday 17 fixtures, which run just Saturday and Sunday, I think. 2-day weekend this time around. Joining us eventually, the fucker, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. You all right there, Bass? Did you get lost?
Yeah, been a bit of a fiasco this morning, so we should have been going about an hour earlier. However, I missed my train by about 30 seconds. I literally arrived at the train station as the train is just slowly pulling off the platform. It led to an hour delay in my return. I also thought it was going to lead to another £35 cost because my train ticket was fixed. It was fixed for that journey and that journey only. So I was expecting to get hit with another £35 on the day charge. But fortunately, he just kept me head down on the train and got away with it. So at least it didn't cost me any money. It just cost me an hour of my time.
They're an absolute shit show, the trains in this country. But like the ticket pricing and stuff like that. I love a train journey. I love it. Absolutely love it. Except you've got to be a millionaire to be able to go anywhere. It's absolutely preposterous. Like sitting on the train with a can is one of the great pleasures in life, but it's just so prohibitively expensive to take even the smallest journey. And then all that bollocks like you're on about the fixed time, not fixed time, peak time, off-peak
so my
time.
Ticket, I bought the ticket last night. Ticket was cheap as anything. Ticket was £12 last night for my journey today. But if I'd had to buy the same ticket today, like 12 hours later, it would have cost £30 for the same ticket, which is...
Why though?
Exactly.
It doesn't cost them anymore to take you where you're going.
Absolutely stupid.
It is absolutely stupid, Baz. It's a load of bollocks, is what it is. Yeah, so a bit of a weird afternoon time, but remember, Barry is unreliable and it's Christmas, so... the times are all over the place for the games and stuff. Riley was first in the chat. Riley, how you doing?
Sorry, hold on. So this is because I'm unreliable and the times of the games are all over the place. It's got nothing to do with your being busy every night. Is that nothing?
No, but we scheduled this in. You see, that's what I'm saying.
You've got to take a little bit of the, the credit for all of these unusual times, Malcolm. It's mainly down to you.
I've been sitting here like a lemon waiting for you to turn up. Like Riley has, he was first in. Riley, how you doing? Joe Dollar and Newcastle Arsenal coming up, Joe, in the Cup semi-final. James has turned up as well. Who else is he? Oh, Captain Insano dropped a point in the old NFL pick'em last night. He took Denver. I took LA, which puts me 1 point above captain in second place. So I was delighted to wake up to that. Captain, welcome along. Pete's Picks. Pete, where we going? Pete gave us a winner last week on the show. Gentleman Bill dotted up at Doncaster last time we did the show. So tomorrow's pick, I put on the screen, is 225 at Ascot. Strong leader. That's on Saturday, so you've got time if you listen. I have listened to that. Cheers, Pete. Appreciate it. Joe says Bass is the Anthony of train riders. Anthony's been getting some stick this week. How was the rest of Skegness, Baz? Do you want to give us the rundown on what happened in the last resort?
It was okay. It did what it was supposed to do in terms of keeping the kids entertained for 3 or 4 days, and I could just get on with some work and chill out on an evening. So it was okay. Just okay. It was
Very
cold,
good. You survived.
miserable. But the kids had a fairground and a swimming pool and bits of entertainment going on. So they kept themselves busy, which was the main thing.
I've got one more job tonight, Barry, and then that's me until the 30th. I have managed to get through working class hero, my busy time. I was up on the roof on Wednesday. Did you see that? I was on the rooftop bar above the Vermont Hotel. The bar's called the Above Bar. So it's up on the 12th floor. Unbelievable view right over, basically on top of the Tyne Bridge. Obviously, you could see miles in either direction. It was very, very swanky, nightclub style. Brazilian dancing girls, Barry. Very talented young women. I enjoyed them. I've got a video. I'll send you that in a bit. And then contrast that last night, 30 people in their office on the Silverlink Industrial Estate, like just in the office. 3 tables, 3 casino tables for 30. There was 8 people left at the end. It was absolutely ridiculous. Riley does keep asking me to explain what I do. So Riley, just for to keep things in, I mean, a bit of self-promotion. I've got a little fun casino, Riley, which I take out to events. So last night, office party, the night before, Christmas party, weddings, birthdays, corporates, anything like that. So if you do notice on Twitter, I'll often post a little photo of me with the roulette table, either in a stately home, up an office block, somewhere like that. So that's what I do. Gameshire.co.uk. If you want a reasonably priced, casino, get yourself along. Use the promo code PLGP. I just made that up. Well, give us a shout and I'll do you a discount. Ian's joined us as well in the chat. Ian, how you doing? EFL Cup quarterfinals this week, Baz. I went 2-2, which was a little bit of profit. Palace Arsenal was a bad pick. I took the unders, finished 3-2. I think I was a little bit unlucky on the Southampton team total. They scored 1. They had chances, really had lots of decent chances to get a second one. So they were my 2 losers. But Newcastle over 2.5, both teams to score 1. And then Tottenham were an unbelievable price last night because Man United is still shit. So Tottenham was the one that put me in profit. And I think you did all right, Baz?
I did very all right, yes. I was 1 Liverpool goal away from a clean sweep for mine. So I had 3 winners, 1 loser, the loser being Liverpool team total. Like you, felt a little bit lucky. Plenty of chances for Liverpool to get a third. I had the over 3.5 in the Newcastle game. I took both teams to score Arsenal. It was nice and easy. Arsenal v Palace, because Palace got the early goal. You always felt like that was going to win from there. And then last night, I took Spurs team total. Should have went up the ladder with that one. But Spurs to score 2 or more. So, 3 winners from the 4. Another really solid midweek performance from me after a good week in the Champions League last week. Midweek stuff's been all right lately.
Another good performance from the old Morrison's butcher last night there. Jesus, he's still in the butchery department, Baz. They've kept him on, but with it being Christmas, he's on pigs in blankets this week. That's what he's doing. He's wrapping all them up. They're not letting him near the machines or anything like that. So he's wrapping up the pigs in blankets. So that's nice for him. They've kept him on, but he's doing that this week, pigs in blankets.
I mean, we should talk about that game. I've got it. You want to jump into the games yet?
No, not quite, Baz. We'll get there. We asked people to comment on Spotify, which they did. Thank you very much. Keep doing it. And I wanted to shout out Alex on Twitter as well, who somehow cobbled together a winning treble. Because we both had winners and we both had losers on Wednesday, but he managed to pick the 2 winners that you had, the 1 winner that I had, and put them in a treble, like some sort of witchcraft. So that was nice. So I was pleased about that, Alex. And
I looked at that, though, Malcolm, and it's quite reassuring because that's what this should be about. Like, you listen to what we put out and you pick the bits you like and you ignore the bits you don't like. We're not claiming to sit here and get everything right, but there'll be some things that resonate with you and you think, I like that. So it's good to see when people have sort of mixed and matched the bits that they wanted, and sometimes add their own little bits in. It's exactly how it should work.
Did we ever make a decision on the appropriateness in the year 2024 of the somewhat irregular feature footballers that look like lesbians? Are we allowed to continue that or not?
I'm allowed to let you continue with it, yeah.
You're just not getting yourself cancelled. Well, we don't have to continue it, in which case I will not point out that Lenny Yoro looks like a lesbian. So we'll ignore that part. And also, I messaged you this morning saying, have you got a Battleship set? And you couldn't find one. But I did say, if you haven't got one, can you just make one up on a bit of paper, a 10 by 10 grid? Do you have one?
It wasn't that I couldn't find one. It was that I wasn't at home to be able to find one.
Yeah, you were on the train.
And
There wasn't one on the train, no?
I walked through the door 2 minutes ago. So I have created a 10 by 10 grid. I've placed my 5 ships. And I've got another 10 by 10 grid to try and work out where yours are.
Well, because I thought, Paz, this just came to me this morning. I thought we could have a game, but we'll just have one guest per episode, and we could keep this going for years if you want. Do you want to go? So I'm old school. Look, I'm set up. I've taken a photo of where my ships are, so you can't accuse me of any shenanigans. And I'll just put this away every time. Do you want to go first or second, or do you want to toss a coin or something?
I'll toss the coin. Do you want heads or tails?
A heads, please.
It's a head, so you can go first, Malcolm.
All right. B3.
B3. That's a miss.
Yeah. Okay. Right, you.
I will go for F3.
Miss. Excellent. I enjoyed that. Next round will be on the next episode. Yeah, I think that's me done for Chit Chat Baz. What did you want to talk about? You say Man United?
The games, I think Man United, again, simply because of the stuff you said the other week. It was one of those 4-3 classics we always talk about, Malcolm.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. You don't see them anymore, do you, Baz? Apart from every 2 fucking days.
Yeah, it was exactly another example of what your rant was about the other week, because it wasn't a classic at all. It was just another 4-3 littered with errors. I think 4 or possibly, 5 of those goals could be attributed to terrible goalkeeping or terrible defending.
I did mention, Barry, the law of diminishing returns on that goalkeeper, by the way.
That was the next thing in my notes.
Last night when I saw that.
That was the next thing in my notes. I've got another thing you mentioned a few weeks ago was Forster in goal for a period of time for Spurs and how it wouldn't end well. Had an absolute nightmare for 2 of them. Didn't cost them in the end. But I did say your comment about the law of diminishing returns 2 weeks ago has come to fruition with Forster. So yeah, you nailed those rants and comments.
The Man U goalie didn't cover himself in glory either, because nobody thought that was a foul at the end apart from him. Because sometimes if it's a foul, like your players will start kicking off and stuff, and he started flapping around like an otter in a pepper pot on the floor. All of his players just ignored him, all of his teammates. He then started chasing the ref, who just laughed at him and booked him. And then they showed a replay on the big screen, and he started pointing at the big screen and like looking around for some moral support. And nobody thought it was a foul. It was just rubbish.
I'll tell you what was funny about that goal as well was the clip I've seen on Twitter this morning of Martinez running over to Son and pushing him to the corner flag to say, hurry up and take your corner. Stop wasting time. And then Son just floated into the far corner from the corner, from the corner. That was funny as well.
Well, yeah. Martinez had to get back to his chipolatas, didn't he? He was on the clock, but so yeah, I think that's it. Let me check my notes. I'll tell you what else, Baz. Oh no, we'll get to Southampton in a bit because they've got a new manager today. No idea who he is, but we'll get to him. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're going to move on, Barry. Let me tell you all about Underdog. Pick him. It's got one of the biggest menus for all sports. You can win up to 1,000 times your money with Underdog Streaks. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Our promo code is PLGP. That'll get you a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. And we're brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 states. Plenty of betting opportunities. Great for people where in places where traditional sports books might be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match to $100. Rebet, promo code SGPN. Okie doke. So this is Saturday and Sunday, 5 games on Saturday, 5 games on Sunday. Obviously, nothing after that because we go straight into a Boxing Day slate. It was a 8 games on Boxing Day, so we're going to have to work out when we do that show, Baz. But we start on Saturday lunchtime. It's only about 22 hours from now, where Aston Villa take on Manchester City. Aston Villa are 23-10. The draw is 11-4. Man City are 21-20, plus 105. Craig's joined us in the chat. Craig, how are you doing? Aston Villa, they took advantage of a couple of soft home games to get themselves back on track where they had been wobbling. But then they lost last time late. They lost very late at Forest, but I actually think Forest were probably good for the win on the balance of play. Villa found themselves ahead midway through the second half, a little bit fortunately. The record against the top half teams for Villa is poor. 1-1, drawn 1, lost 5. But they have been good at home. 11-16, over 2.5. 11 of 16, both teams to score. The flag in the ointment with all of that is the opposition, because it's Manchester City, and they're just unbackable at the minute. James is in the chat. I asked him if City might win a game soon. He's waiting for a response. Even as the price now moves to plus money, like odds against 21-20, and I still don't want to, because I watched them last week and they looked broken. They just looked dysfunctional. They're playing the 60 million quid midfielder at fullback. The other fullbacks goosed completely. Walker. De Bruyne looked absolutely knackered. I mean, they were one bad pass away from beating Man United last week, but they were still rubbish. I thought they were terrible. They've now conceded 2 goals, 7 league games in a row. Then you can add in the League Cup. You can add in 3 Champions League games to that. I think Villa are absolutely live because anyone's live against Man City. But I just keep backing this team total. I don't know why I didn't back it last week. It would have been a lucky winner, but it would have been a winner because I backed it about 5 games in a row before that. The Villa team total over 1.5. Villa can't score goals at home. Is 5-4 plus 125. So I'll take Villa to get a couple of goals back.
Yeah, I found it hard to know what to do with either of these sides, really. Villa had looked to have got back on track. 3 straight wins before they fell to Forest last week. And City, you've mentioned, continue to be in do not touch territory. Evens or plus money for City would have been falling over ourselves to try and back this, a month or so ago. Not all that long ago. You see City get to a price near evens and you'd fly into them. Not now. The Villa games have went over 2.5 in 4 of the last 5, and 3 of those hit the both teams to score. And both teams to score was where I sort of started looking, because it's not usually a bad starting point with City because they always concede. However, they've actually failed to score 3 times in the last 7 games as well, City. So it's not just the defensive frailties. They're not necessarily full of goals themselves at this point as well. So I ended up avoiding all of the main markets. I just didn't know which way to go. I really, really do struggle to know what to do with City at the moment. So I went back to corners. It worked for me last week. The City game last week, the line was over 7.5 corners, and they did only just get there. They got to 8. This week it's 5.5. They've hit that line in 4 straight games, and 6 of the last 7. It just seems a very low line for me for City corners here. So City over 5.5 corners at evens is where I've gone.
Okay, Saturday afternoon, the 3 o'clock kickoffs, 10 a.m. Eastern time. There are 1, 2, 3. 3 o'clock, starting with Brentford taking on Nottingham Forest. Brentford are 13-10, plus 130. The draw 13-5, plus 260. Nottingham Forest, Baz, are 19-10, plus 190.
Yeah, we should call them home Brentford and away Brentford.
We should do, because it's 2 different teams, isn't it? Right?
So this is home Brentford here, which are a different beast to away Brentford, who were poor against Newcastle the other day. Really poor, considering what was at stake there. The question is, when does this home bubble burst for Brentford? I don't think it's sustainable, this home form. They're not that good that they're going to go unbeaten all season or continue to win every game at home. They've played all of the bottom 7 teams now, I think, at home already. So there are harder games to come. This is slightly harder. Forest form's still solid. They have lost a few games more recently. 6 wins from 9, though. And the defeats came to Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle. So decent sides. They have beaten Villa and Man United in the last 2 games. And those are decent comparisons here for Forest coming into this one. I want to start fading Brentford. I think particularly at home, because I think that they are going to have a drop off at some point. Forest are a decent price here. I don't mind them as an underdog, but I'm going to take them at plus money on the draw no bet market for a little bit of insurance there. So Forest draw no bet at 11 to 10 will be my pick.
Yeah, I like that, Baz. It's pretty much the same avenue that I went down here. Because the home and away Brentford split, Baz, you could just as easily make it a top half, bottom half split, because it's the same thing. It just so happens one fits into that home and away category. Against teams in the top half, they've played 7, won 1, lost 6. So dress it up whichever way you want. They beat Newcastle 4-2 a few weeks ago. Said they were rubbish, and I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive when they played at home and scored 4 goals. They were rubbish. They're cheating. They're cheating again. We'll get on to Tottenham in a bit. They're cheating. Brentford are cheating, and they're going to get caught out. I thought Forest came to a bit of a crossroads a couple of weeks ago when they had those 3 defeats in 4. But since beating Man United and Villa, a couple of good results. The prices are wrong, I think, basically, yeah. I don't know how Brentford are half a point shorter than Forest. I'm not buying it. I just took Forest outright. I didn't actually look at that price, Baz. That's a decent arse sniffer you've picked out there. But I like Forest at 19 to 10 plus 190. Second 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday afternoon is Ipswich Town taking on Newcastle United. Ipswich are 15 to 4 plus 375. The draw 11 to 4 plus 275. Newcastle 13 to 18 minus 138. Ipswich picked up another win last week at Wolves. I think they were probably a little bit lucky to do so. They got ahead, they got pegged back, and they were absolutely under the cosh. They got ahead with a complete freak own goal, a really funny own goal that Wolves scored. Wolves battered them for the middle period of that second half and just couldn't get in front. And then Ipswich go and score from a set piece right at the death. They've got no one at home in the league so far. They've drawn 4 and lost 4. So you can't pick him. I don't think the win last week changes much. I don't want to be getting involved in Ipswich. But, look, Newcastle had a couple of home wins and put you right back on the part of that cycle that we were at 3 weeks ago, Baz. We had this conversation, didn't we? Said Newcastle had won 2 games. Here we go. Just in time for us to go away from home and be shit again. Because we've done it a lot. And we get drawn into it every time. Ipswich's last 2 home games, they lost to Bournemouth and Palace. I looked at Newcastle team total. It was over 1.5, but it was far too short. I don't trust Newcastle, so I had to try and factor a little bit in. So it's the first one of the day, Baz. It's the both teams to score and the over 2.5 because it's 9 to 10 minus 111. Newcastle should win. Newcastle aren't very good away from home. They're not very good at keeping clean sheets. Ipswich might win it 2-1. Newcastle might fuck it up and it might be a 2-2. Or Newcastle go and do what they did to Forest and get that away win. But the safest option for me, without trying to mush anything, was both teams to score over 2.5 goals, 9 to 10, minus 111.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. Same sort of thoughts around Newcastle. Ipswich, quite fortunate, you would say, to get that win. Late winner last week against Wolves. Only their second win of the season. Form generally hasn't been great, but they are sticking around in games. 2 draws, 4 defeats in their last 8 games. But the 4 defeats did all come by a single goal. So they are sticking around and taking them for a goal here. I don't mind. It's not where I've gone. As you say, Newcastle have got this habit, haven't they, of just luring you in. A couple of promising home displays. A little bit of danger that we just revert right back to what we do away from home, or what we've done all season. Newcastle away from home, just one win in the last 6 now, the win against Forest. But I have been lured in. Newcastle have just racked up 12 goals in the last 4 games. I looked at the team total like you. It was a bit too short, and I didn't really want to push it to 3 because defensively, Ipswich haven't been shipping tons of goals. Newcastle on a bit of a high, haven't reached the semi-final. Got Tonali back in the team, playing well now. I'm going to take Newcastle to beat Ipswich, Malcolm, 8-11.
Absolutely ruined Christmas, Barry, there, haven't you? Single-handedly. I'm going to the pub tomorrow to watch that, actually. I'm going to go to the Lockside Bars and watch that with a few of the footy dads. Get myself full of premium.
The Lockside.
Hey?
Used to be my local. Well, I grew up in Stockton Park, didn't I?
Yeah. I'm going to get full of premium lager, is what I'm going to do. Joe's gone for the Liam Delap goal. I assume he's just trying to agitate me. What was I going to say? I had something of vast importance to say a minute ago, Baz, and I've completely... More adverts. We do love the adverts. MyBookie.ag are our favourites. Been here with SGPN for years. The website is much improved and new. Props for every game. You've got the live dealer casino, early cash out options. We do like Nottingham Forest this week at +190 on MyBookie to get the job done there. Our promo code is SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And finally, SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds, get predictions for moneyline spreads, totals, and props, build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models, or have Rhythm build one for you. NFL picks, props, college football, college basketball, NBA. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. The third 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday afternoon is West Ham United taking on Brighton and Hove Albion. West Ham 15-8 +187. The draw 13-5 +260. Bournemouth aren't playing in this game. Brighton are 23-17 +135, Barry.
Yeah, Brighton are a strange old team, aren't they? They've just got this knack. I mean, we've done all right out of fading Brighton at the right spots in recent seasons. They've just got this knack, haven't they? They always seem to hit a really nice patch early in the season, and everyone gets a little bit carried away with them. And then they just seem to drop off in the way they've done so recently. New manager here now, but it's just the same pattern again. They've lost, in the first 9 games, they've lost only once. They're now 4 without a win, and they had a run of games there with Leicester, Southampton, Palace, Fulham. No win from those 4. So I think Brighton have become hard to back, and a team that I'd probably want to start looking to fade again at the moment because they're just a little bit off the boil a bit. West Ham underdogs, but I think they are worth taking a punt on here. Their home form is okay. They've lost only 1 of the last 5 home games, West Ham. That was against Arsenal. Brighton have got no clean sheet in 9 games now. Plenty of goals around in the form line for both sides. But I'm going to go for West Ham. I want West Ham on my side here. I'm going to take the West Ham team total. So West Ham to score 2 or more goals in this one at even money.
Totally agree, Barry. I wanted West Ham. It was the angle. I like the price immediately. Because West Ham have played back-to-back Monday night games. I think they've had 3, actually. Because Newcastle was a Monday night game as well. And then I watched them against Leicester on the Amazon week when it was the midweek set of fixtures. So I've watched West Ham more than I rightly should have done, really. And they played quite well. The first of those was that Leicester game where they got beat 3-1, but they battered Leicester. They battered Leicester for the middle 80% of the game. They absolutely mauled them. And I thought they were decent against Bournemouth the other night. Both teams to score in 4 in a row of their games, very short. Brighton on a bit of a funk, and I did write down those 4 opposition that you mentioned, Palace, Leicester, Fulham, Southampton. If they can't be beating them, I don't want to back them at West Ham. Both teams to score 8 in a row for them. That's a nice little accumulator bet if you want to get both teams to score in something this week. You can stick that in and forget about it. So I've got two angles here. I like West Ham as a dog, Baz, exactly the same as you. You took the team total. I think outright West Ham alive. But because I've watched the games, I had to have a look at the shots market, Barry. It's been raining shots. Do you know how many shots there was? You don't know, but have a guess. In that Bournemouth game, West Ham v Bournemouth the other night, total shots.
40.
45? I said the other night about Chelsea Tottenham that 30-something was like a world record. 45? Before that against Wolves, 38. And before that against Leicester, 39. The line is 30.5. We're getting 7.5 free shots here, Baz, before the fucking tightrope even begins to wobble. It's an absolute must bet. I don't think we've had one of them before, Barry. Episode number 236, and this is our first ever must bet. Over 30.5 shots. I mean, Brighton love a shootout. West Ham are just, I don't know if West Ham love it, but they're getting involved in it every week because I don't think they've got any choice. It's 9-10, -111. Yeah, so absolutely get involved in that.
Would you like me to read out the prices for a ladder on that, Malcolm?
Oh, yes, all the way up to 45.5, please.
Go that for you. Next step on the ladder would be over 33.5 at 9-4 plus 225. You can get over 36.5 at 9-2 plus 450. And over 39.5 shots between West Ham and Brighton would be 15-2.
Fucking hell. So 7-1 for something that's hit in the last 3 games. Absolutely unbelievable. But as maybe we might have a Merry Christmas after all, Barry. Tea time on Saturday, 5:30, kick-off, 12:30 Eastern time. Crystal Palace taking on Arsenal. Crystal Palace have drifted alarmingly since I made these notes at 10 o'clock this morning. They were 19-4 plus 475. They're now 21-4 plus 525. So a half a point drift. I don't know what's prompted that. Arsenal are 4-7, -175, and the draw is 16-5 plus 320. I don't know if there's been some injury news or something, Baz. You maybe try and have a look at that. It would have to be like Eze or somebody, but I haven't seen anything. Palace are unbeaten in 5 and only 1 defeat in 8 now for Crystal Palace. They've turned it around a little bit. Excellent win at Brighton last week. They played really well. And Arsenal are far too short here. They've just not beaten Everton. They've just not beaten Fulham away. That's a decent comparison game. Fulham, but with Palace in better form, Palace and Fulham aren't miles apart. So that's no win in the last 2. And they've only got 3 wins away from home in 8. So that's not something to back at 4-7. You just can't do it. I think Palace are live as an underdog. I took Fulham against Arsenal a few weeks ago, and I wasn't miles away. But Palace on the double chance, Baz, is 13-10 plus 130. Can be a difficult game to go on the TV under the lights. Their tails are up a little bit. We did just see Palace Arsenal in the cup in the week, but Arsenal made lots of changes. So I don't read too much into that. But I think Palace can give them a game here. Double chance, Crystal Palace, 13-10 plus 130.
We're almost on the same line. I've gone slightly safer, but I agree with you. I think Arsenal too short a price. Game on Wednesday, so Palace close enough to them, got off to a good start, took an early lead, held it until the second half. Arsenal eventually winning 3-2. But that was at Arsenal. Now Palace are at home. And I thought they were a big price, 5-1 Palace. Arsenal, with a narrow win in that one, but then following on from back-to-back draws. And I just think you can have a go on Palace to keep this close again as a minimum. Palace have been on a good run, just 1 loss in 8 league games now. So I've took them on the Asian handicap, +1. So it's almost the same bet as you. But I get cash back if Arsenal win by a single goal. So it cashes if Palace win or draw, same as you. But I've got the push if Arsenal win by 1. 10-11. It's only just under evens as well. So I'm getting a bit of a shorter price for you. There's a little bit of a safety net in there. But I like the pick. Arsenal, I don't fancy them to blow anyone away at the moment. and Palace are in good form. They'll keep it close and hopefully cash for both of us.
Fair enough. Harry's joined us. Chelsea. We haven't mentioned the European Conference League, whatever it's called. Chelsea squeezed past Shamrock Rovers 5-1 last night. Qualified 6 wins out of 6. The draw was this morning. I don't know who they got in the draw. Harry, you can tell us. Harry's been watching the darts. I've got the darts on here. This has been a great game. Nyman, the Dutchman, against Carolison, the South African. It's 2-2 in sets. It's 2-2 in legs. The South African just dropped his arse a little bit at the end of this fourth leg. And Harry rightly pointed out that Sky Bet have got a little offer on, which is cash back. So it's a completely risk-free bet. You get your money back if Leeds, Newcastle and Arsenal don't win. So it's 3-1 for Leeds, Newcastle and Arsenal, but it's money back if it doesn't win. So anyone with a Sky Bet account, get across and get involved with that. Next up, we go to Sunday lunchtime, 2 p.m. There's 4 2 p.m. kickoffs actually on Sunday, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. First of which is Everton against Chelsea. Everton are 4-1. Chelsea 16-5 plus 3. No, draw 16-5 plus 320. Chelsea 11-18 minus 163. Barry.
I mean, the Everton form line is nuts. When you look at it, 4 0-0s already this season. You don't get 0-0s in the Premier League often. Everton get them very often. 4 already, and 3 of their last 5 league games have been 0-0 now as well. Both teams to score no has hit 6 straight games for Everton, mainly down to the fact Everton can't score. Everton have failed to score in 5 of the last 6 Premier League games now. That's a shocking stat. When we talk about how teams can't defend in this Premier League, how you can fail to score in 5 of 6 games is pretty astonishing. And then go and put 4
in the other one, though.
4 in one game, yeah. So they used up their quota in one game was the problem. Low scoring always appeals in Everton games where it's plus money, 6-5. It's hitting 7 of the last 9 games for Everton, the unders. Not where I went, though. You look at Chelsea's form. Chelsea are unbeaten in 11, won 8 straight games. That does include a lot of Europa shite. So if you set that aside, they've won 5 straight in the league. And the overs is hitting all the time in Chelsea games, which is what pushes me away from the unders on the other side of it. Chelsea in this form should win. The same could be said for Arsenal last week when they went to Everton and failed. Chelsea, though, 8-13 to win. So what price do you think Chelsea ought to win to 0? What do you think would be a fair price?
11-10.
So this is exactly why I've gone for this pick. Against the side who've just failed to score in 5 of the last 6 games, it's 2-1 for Chelsea to win to 0. And that just seems like a big jump from 8-13 to them winning without Everton scoring. So I've gone for Chelsea win to 0 here, 2-1.
So I'm going to outline a little case for Everton. Not that it's my case. I couldn't be less interested back in Everton. Dave Iran's duffel coat, issue 42, £1.20. Messaged me in the week saying that they had the takeover this week, didn't they? Everton got taken over by the Friedkin Group, American billionaire, whatever that is. And Dave seemed to think that this would new broom would sweep all the cobwebs away. He said the fans are going to be up for it. It's going to be a bit of a party atmosphere. What? So that was the case Dave wanted to make. And he said Everton have done historically quite well against Chelsea at home. I'm here to tell you that's absolute bollocks because they're shit. They have been shit. They'll remain to be shit. Can't have a go at Dyche because I've having a go at all the other managers who want to lose 4-3 every week. So I have to kind of back Dyche up. Dyche is on my team. I'm all for the 0-0 draw. I'd rather sit through that. It's the same thing. It's just rubbish. So a 4-1's too short. They've only got 3 wins. None of them have been against anybody decent. And Chelsea are 2 points off the top, 5 wins in a row, scored 16 goals in the process. They've won at Southampton, Wolves, Leicester, West Ham, and covered the handicap 3 times. I think Chelsea are going to stuff them bad. I've got Chelsea on the handicap, which, by the way, might only be 2 goals because you've just said they're going to win to 0. Chelsea score a lot of goals. 2-0 might just do it. The handicap price is 8-5 plus 160. One of us is going to win here. It's possible both of us do, but this could be a 3-1 or something like that. But yeah, or you've got the 1-0. But we might both win, but we both fancy Chelsea. I'll take him on the handicap. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, shit. 2 o'clock is Fulham taking on Southampton. Fulham are 8-19, minus 238. The draw is 15-4, plus 375. Southampton are 6-1. So yeah, Southampton, I was going to mention it at the top. New manager, Baz. Have you seen this on your train journey today?
I've seen there was a new manager. Yes.
Ivan Juric.
Yeah.
For those who can't see me, I'm shrugging my shoulders quite extravagantly. I don't know who he is. He looks like a serial killer. I Googled him. He looks really quite severe. But what I'll know about him is he's been sacked by Genoa 3 times. And this is the sort of thing that happens in Italy where you get sacked and get the job back 3 months later, then get sacked. So that's happened 3 times. He's then been okay at Verona, okay at Torino, and a bit shit at Roma, and that's it. Croatian, apparently was a decent midfielder back in the day. Wikipedia, so that's all I know about him. However, I don't know what he hopes to achieve this season at Southampton because they're toast, they're relegated. Whether or not they're all in agreement it's an appointment for the Championship next year or not, I don't know. But they've continued to waste everybody's time. They can get in the sea, Southampton. I don't know what they were playing at last week at all. Slightly more competitive in the cup against Liverpool. I'm still not interested in them. 6-1 is not an attractive price at all. Fulham, 1 defeat and 8 for Fulham. They've won 3 of those. And the home form against bottom half sides is eye-catching, Baz. That was the key form line for me here. They've got 4 wins against those bottom half teams. 2 3-1s and 2 2-1s. They got a 1-1 v West Ham and they got beat 4-1 off Wolves, which is the weird one. But Fulham are good. Fulham have been playing really well. They were good at Liverpool last week. They always concede at home, however, but I still think they're going to win. I've got a little run of big prices here, Baz. I've got some fancy prices. The dogs are bargain as we come home on this slate. Fulham to win and both teams to score is 9-5 plus 180, Barry.
Yeah, we can both win. I haven't got many big prices coming up. I've gone a bit tight on this one. The new manager, he lasted less than 2 months at Roma, appointed in September, booted out by November. I found out he was a self-described metalhead with a passion for death metal music in particular. He's a big fan of Metallica and Megadeth and stuff like that. So how that factors into your handicapping, I don't know. There you go. Just 1 defeat and 8 now for Fulham, as you see. Good form. Back-to-back draws against Arsenal and Liverpool as well, helping to keep that form going. Home against bottom side Southampton, you would think shouldn't pose a massive challenge. Let's see, we've got a new man at Southampton. Interesting to see if there's a new approach. There's got to be a different approach, obviously. And whether he can, I don't know, be a bit more pragmatic and maybe try and not concede 5 goals every game would be a start. 4 defeats in a row for Southampton. 6 defeats in 7 now as well. They did push Liverpool close again in midweek. And maybe they might just keep it close again. You've given them a goal. Yeah, so possible they can keep it close again. They have had some heavy defeats to Spurs and Chelsea recently, but they've held Liverpool to a single goal deficit twice. Villa were held to a single goal. They drew with Brighton. And I thought at 6-1 Southampton, it brought the handicap into play. I like Southampton plus 1.5 just to keep in there and keep it tight. Maybe with a bit more
down after about 7 minutes last week.
I know, but that was against Spurs.
I'm just pointing out. I don't know if you'd forgotten that.
No, I haven't. That was against Spurs, where you told me I was stupid for backing Spurs as well. So you can't have it both ways, Malcolm.
Well, I can, because you were.
Southampton plus 1.5. Fulham have only covered a 1.5 handicap 3 times in 18 games in all competitions. So Fulham in great form. Only once in the last 9 as well have they won by a 2-goal margin. I know we're playing Southampton, who are the worst team in the league at the moment, but I just think Southampton like you, I think they'll get a goal, and that might be enough for them to keep within the 1.5 handicap. So I can cash out, even if Fulham win by a single goal. Anything worse is no good. Southampton plus 1.5 on the handicap at 8 to 11.
Harry's got the chat going about a little conspiracy theory that's going around at the minute, Bars. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. You'll be able to search it out yourself. There's a list of players who are one booking away from getting a suspension for Boxing Day. So people who think the players want Christmas off are all backing these players to pick up the yellow card. I'm not buying it. I think professionally, they're better off getting booked on January the 3rd and missing the FA Cup games the weekend after, would be my opinion. Harry says there's about 38 players on the list. So if you're going to back them all by list up.
It comes around because every year there will be, so out of that list of 38, there will no doubt be 3 or 4 of them who will pick up a card. And everyone will point to those 3 or 4 and say, oh, he definitely wanted Boxing Day off. It's just lower of averages. There's a big list. Some of them will get booked. Some of them won't. But you guarantee people will make more of the ones that do get a yellow card to say, they couldn't be bothered on Boxing Day. If you can find, if you want it back the treble, Malcolm, and take the 3 who will get yellow carded, what you should probably do is look at my fantasy football team, because everything that could possibly go wrong with my fantasy team has done so. Robert Sanchez, I put Sanchez in the other week. I think he's been booked 3 times since I transferred him in for Chelsea. So he'll get his 5th this week, no doubt. Sanchez, Jackson, and Morgan Rogers are the 3, because they're the 3 that would leave my FPL team in absolute chaos. I left 29 points on the bench last week in FPL, Malcolm. I had Lewis Hall and Ahmad Diallo for
very good.
Leicester United. So yeah, I had more points. At one point, I had more points on my bench than I did in my starting 11. Absolute shambles.
There is one other hole in this conspiracy theory. Do you know any grown man, Barry, that would actively want to spend more time with his family on Boxing Day by taking the day off? Or would you rather get the fuck out the house? Because every grown man I know would rather be out the house. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, if the 2 options, do you want to sit around here today? No, I'm going to go out and play football, thanks. Yeah, so they don't want to get booked. In fact, it's the opposite. We had back all 38 not to get booked. 2 o'clock on, I hope the IT department didn't hear that. She's only about 8 foot away through one ceiling. Leicester take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Leicester 6-4 plus 150. The draw 12-5 plus 240. Wolves 7-4 plus 175. It's the ballmen and the comb bars who wants it.
Yeah, another game with 2 new managers to consider, and all of the potential new manager bounce. It's been a bit of a mixed bag for Leicester since Van Nistelrooy joined. 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. The one thing that has been constant, those goals. 8 of their last 9 league games, Leicester have went over 2.5 goals. And 6 of the 9 went over 3.5, including the last 4 straight games, all over 3.5 goals. And the Wolves form line's the same. We know Wolves are scoring plenty. They just can't keep them out. They've got the worst defence in the league. 11 of the last 12 Wolves games went over 2.5 goals. And the last 5 straight all went over 2.5 there. So goals is my immediate thought on this one. I expected to be a bit shorter. It's 4-6 for the over 2.5. Too short for a pick. But a nice price for the Hackers, I think. But I think you can get to 3.5, yeah? Over 3.5 goals. Neither side can defend. They've conceded 74 goals between them so far this season. They're ranked 1st and 3rd in terms of goals conceded. I'm going to take the over 3.5 between Leicester and Wolves at 13-8, over 3.5 goals.
Yeah, this is a bit of a minging game to have a look at, really. Leicester aren't very good. I've seen them a couple of times. I watch them against Newcastle, obviously. And I did watch that West Ham game where they were looking. They had 2 lucky results against West Ham and Brighton. And they had no chance at all and stuffed at Newcastle last week. A part of the reason they got stuffed was that midfield that I mentioned on the last show of Oliver Skip and Hamza Chowdhury in place of Harry Winks and Ndidi. So check the team news. I don't know if they're going to be back or otherwise. There has been goals in the last 4 games for Leicester. You're right, Baz. 4, 4, 4 and 5. Now, Wolves are a shambles. But new manager, Vitor Pereira, New manager bounce, who knows? They've lost 4 in a row. They've appealed Cunha's suspension. Cunha's going to get a suspension for nicking that bloke's glasses last week. But they've appealed it. So he's still going to get suspended. It's a bit of a frivolous appeal, but it does mean he can play this week before that appeal is heard. Now, they should have beaten Ipswich last week. It was 1-1. And I know when you're down at the bottom, nothing goes your way. They had all the chances in the world to put that game to bed. And I might regret this, but I'm going to give Wolves a chance here because I'm on to Leicester. They're rubbish. They picked up those 4 points and everyone got a bit excited about Van Nistelrooy. They were shit in both of those games. They were shit last week. The clues tell me, Barry, is that they're shit. Wolves, 7-4, plus 175. The penultimate game on the card is the final 2 o'clock on Sunday between Manchester United and Bournemouth. Man United are 4-5, minus 125. The draw 14-5, plus 280. Bournemouth 16-5, plus 320. How long do you think I spent handicapping this, Baz? To the nearest 5 seconds?
Less than 5 seconds.
10 seconds, yeah, I'd say 10 seconds. I'm not going into this. Man United were rubbish last week. They've been rubbish ad nauseum. They were rubbish last week. And apart from a terrible back pass, which was compounded by Núñez then running after the bloke and kicking him as hard as he could, they would have lost at Manchester City. They were then rubbish again on Thursday night against Tottenham. They can't defend. They're rubbish. Bournemouth are in good form. They're way above them in the league. They've beaten better teams than this so far. They've beaten Man City. They've beaten Arsenal. They've knocked Tottenham over. If you want a direct form line, horse racing style, go through Tottenham. Tottenham beat Man United last night. Bournemouth have beaten Tottenham. Bournemouth humped Man United last year at Old Trafford. 3-0, I think the score was. You can only back Bournemouth. If you're taking any other course of action, you shouldn't be allowed money. We might be wrong, but there's only one action you can take now as we talk on Friday afternoon, and that's to back Bournemouth at 16-5, plus 320, but.
Like it, yeah. I think you've got to keep fading Man United. You still can't be backing them at odds on, that's for sure. Bournemouth over 3-1 here, having been in good form, no defeat in 4. As you've said, they've already beaten Spurs, Arsenal, Man City this season. They should have absolutely no reason to fear Man United here. At the prices, it was easy. You've got to find something for Bournemouth. I've taken a different pick to you. Man United haven't adapted to this new system yet. Amorim is talking them down every week, telling fans not to expect anything from them. He doesn't think they can win games. He doesn't think they can do anything this season. He didn't think, even like last night, he was like, fans think us winning silverware would solve all our problems. Then they're wrong. They're going to have to wait a few years. Our aim's to win the Premier League. He wasn't basically saying, don't even try and win the EFL Cup. You can't win anything. Bournemouth to score a couple is the bet I like. Forest scored 3 at Old Trafford last time there. Bodo Glimt went to Old Trafford and scored a couple of goals. Spurs just put 4 past Man United last night. I'll take the Bournemouth team total over 1.5. Bournemouth goals at 13-8.
Yeah, I like that, Baz. That was another option. It was kind of the next level down from me going on the outright. So, yeah, I like that. There's quite a few people lurking in the chat. The numbers are going up and down. So if you are lurking around and you haven't said hello, by all means, give us a shout and get your picks out there. Final game then, Sunday afternoon, 4:30 kickoff. Tottenham Hotspur taking on Liverpool. Tottenham are 7-2, plus 350. The draw is 3-1. Liverpool 13-18, minus 138, Pat.
Yeah, I've got Spurs right. 2 games in a row now, Malcolm. That might be more by good fortune than anything else. But yeah, I think time for me to get off them now. I think I've probably been riding me luck a bit too much by backing Spurs 2 games in a row. Dangerous game, that one. I'm not ready for the same sort of danger here. Liverpool might have slipped up a little bit in the last 2 games, draws to Newcastle and Fulham in the league. But overall, the form for Liverpool is just a sea of green. They've still only lost the 1 game all season in all competitions to Forest. I think Liverpool will get back to winning ways. This Spurs defence could be a right treat for Liverpool this weekend. Chelsea put 4 past Spurs recently. Even Man United managed to put 3 past them last night. It's a short price to finish off with, but I'm just going to take Liverpool. Liverpool are by far the better team. Spurs can't be trusted for any length of time. They've won 2 games in a row now. That'll be it. Liverpool to win, 8-11.
So Tottenham cheated again last night, and that's what they're going to do. I quite like Ange. I know I've been having a go at how they played, but as a bloke, he seems all right. And I liked his interview after the game last night as well, because he just doesn't give a shit. If I said to him,
"Were you not entertained?" was his words, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about the fact you're throwing all these goals away? It's like, well, were you not entertained? Like it's all part of the plan.
So if I put my point to him about doing half a job, and the defender's saying, "What we do this week, Ange," and him saying, "I don't give a shit, do what you want," he wouldn't care about that. He'd just laugh. He'd say, "Yeah, you're right, mate," and I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. So they cheated again last night and won. They battered Southampton. Put a line through that means absolutely nothing. Me and you could have beat Southampton bars last week. Liverpool, they had that game that was postponed against Everton. They've actually drawn the last 2 2-2 against Fulham and 3-3 against Newcastle. So they've been a little bit more open. In a visit to Spurs, you've got no choice but to go toe-to-toe, because that's just what they're going to do. They'll force you into it. So this is my thinking here, Baz. Tottenham have played 16 games now. Won 7, lost 7. 2 draws. And that's what you're going to get. Every game is the toss of a coin, isn't it? So if you give me 7-2 about heads and 13-18 about tails, I've got to take the 7-2 heads, Baz. It's just maths, isn't it? Like, do you see my point? It's just a coin toss. At the end of the season, Tottenham will have won half and have lost half, and there will be no correlation between who they beat, who they lost to, what the prices were when they won, what the prices were when they lost. So, if next week they're up at 8-13, Tottenham, I won't want anything to do with them, like when they lost at home to Ipswich. But when they're up at 7-2, you've got to back them. It's pure mathematics, Barry. It's easy. Tottenham 7-2 plus 350. Get in there. Harry agrees. Shake your head there, Baz.
Tottenham v Southampton is not the same coin toss as Tottenham versus Liverpool. You can't say they've won 50% of their games, so they'll continue to win 50% of their games.
When they won at Man City? Do you remember?
Yeah, they'll have been bigger than 7-2.
When they lost at home to Ipswich.
Win. I just think
there's no fucking. You can't read anything into it. It's bollocks. They're idiots. They're absolute idiots. They're just going to go and win half and lose half. It doesn't matter what the other team is. It's irrelevant. It's largely irrelevant. And like I said, Liverpool have just thrown in a 2-2 and a 3-3. So why not get caught out in a shootout? 7-2, Baz. 7-2. Come on.
I mean, Joe Dollar's in the chat, and he's probably right. He says we've missed the layup. Just take the goals. Just back the goals in this one.
Yeah, you're right.
Over 3.5 is probably
Liverpool have won 5-3 at 6 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, thinking, the over 7.5 was the sensible play. So yeah, that's it, Baz. 10 games in the hutch, 59 minutes down. I think the battleship took up too much time, but exotic stuff. Do you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I'll go off with my lock first of all. It's going to be the City corners again. I took the City corners as my lock last week. The line's too lower this week. So City over 5.5 corners at evens will be my lock. My dog for this week is Forest to beat Brentford, 2-1. I'm a scorer. I'm going with Anthony Gordon. I think he's been a little unlucky not to get on the score sheet recently. I think Newcastle might have some goals in than they have done in recent weeks. So I'm taking Anthony Gordon at 2-1 anytime scorer and 6-1 for first goal.
I've just called it audible on my underdog because I put the wrong team in. My lock is going to be those shots. West Ham v Brighton. Like I say, those lines are absolutely insane. What did I say? It was 45, 38 and 39. And the line's 30.5. There's no reason that would change, especially against Brighton, who do fit into that team to get involved in a shootout. My underdog, I had loads to choose from. I've got 4 outrights on the board here, and then a couple in the draw no bet market. I'm going to take Bournemouth just because fuck Man United. So Bournemouth at 16-5 plus 320. Accumulator-wise, I've got a nice skinny one. I've got a 9-4 shot, Baz, which is just a 3-game over 2.5. The games at Ipswich, West Ham and Tottenham is 9-4 plus 225 over 2.5 goal. And my stake in Stilton, Baz, I love these underdogs. So, Nottingham Forest, that you just called out. Bournemouth is my lock at Man United. And I've thrown Tottenham in there because I'm confident. 54-1, Barry, for that 3-team underdog play on Forest, Bournemouth and Tottenham.
Well, my skinny acca is also over 2.5 treble, but doesn't include any of the 3 that you've picked. So I've gone overs as well, an overs treble, but it doesn't include any of the games you picked. So we've now got 6 over 2.5 between us. But the league has been hitting 8 out of 10 every week in terms of the overs. So plenty of opportunities. But yeah, get them into a 6-fold, see what price that goes. I've gone for Brentford Forest, Leicester Wolves, and Man United Bournemouth over 2.5 goals. Mine comes in at about 7-2. And my big acca is also an underdog treble. It also includes Forest. It also includes Bournemouth. But the third one for me is West Ham.
Yeah, nice.
My third one. So I've got Forest, West Ham, Bournemouth. Little underdog treble comes in at 35-1.
Definitely a dog's week, Baz. I forgot about West Ham before. I've got West Ham. I've got Wolves. I like Palace. There's the 3 I've given out there. I don't mind Aston Villa. I mean, the favourites I think might win in Newcastle, Chelsea, Fulham. 3 winning favourites on this card, Baz. That's all there is. So if you're going to make your money for Christmas and New Year, you need to do it this weekend. Like, can't do everything for you. Anytime goal scorer. Oh, yes. This is good, Baz. I've got to fuck the time. Fulham versus Southampton. I took my anytime goal scorer from. My question to you, Baz, is who is top of the list? Who's favourite for the ATG market in this Fulham v Southampton game? 4-1 fave.
4-1 for any time.
No, 4-1 first and last.
I would have thought Jimenez.
anytime.
Probably Jimenez.
It is, Barry. Beckett Godot.
All right.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Was my next question. No, neither do I. Never heard of him in my life. But there he is. He's the jolly Baz to get on the score sheet first. He's the same price as Raul Jimenez. He's slightly shorter than Carlos Vinicius and Rodrigo Muniz. And my pick, Barry, who is Emile Smith-Rowe. I'm going to go ESR. There's goals in Fulham and Southampton concede a bundle. So 7-1 first and last, 9-4 plus 225 ATG is Emile Smith-Rowe. If you want to pivot, get on Beckett Godot. If you want, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the bookies do strange things sometimes, don't they? On the off chance that somebody gets brought in who wasn't expected to play or something like that. But that one's an odd one for certain. I'll finish off then, Malcolm, with the ladder.
Yes.
And it's back to the Man City game because I felt the line was quite low for Man City corners. So I felt it was somewhere where I had to go back to include it as my ladder. Man City have hit 8 corners in 4 of the last 5 games. And they've hit double figures 6 times already this season for corners. They might be shite at the moment, but they're still getting corners. First line, over 5.5 is evens. Nice starting point. Stick half your stake on that. If they get the 6 goals, then the 6 corners, you're free rolling for the rest of the way. Over 6.5, 7-4. Over 7.5, 3-1. Over 8.5, 5-1. Over 9.5, 17-2. Over 10.5 is 14-1. And we're going to finish at 11. Over 11.5 is 20-1. That's Man City corners. We'll start at over 5.5 Man City corners and go up the ladder all the way to over 11.5 at 20-1.
Right. Beckett Godot, Barry. Beckett Fabrice Martial Godot, to give him his full name. It's a 21-year-old left winger who joined Fulham from Margate and has been on loan at Wigan Athletic ever since. Quite why he's been installed as the 4-1 favourite to score first tomorrow is an absolute mystery. So there you go. Good luck, Beckett. I hope you have a lovely day. Right, Baz, done. Anything you want to tell the people before we go?
No, I'm done.
Very good, me too. I'm going to go and wash my armpits and then get myself off to City of Newcastle Golf Club. Game Sire UK com promo code Mala will give you a discount. Right, cheers, Baz. Next games are on Boxing Day. What the hell are we going to do about that?
We'll probably record Sunday night.
Sunday night, okay, then let's do that.
Sunday or Monday. It'll be Sunday, Monday. It's no different to a usual midweek slate.
So we'll get the NFL playoffs on the darts, and we'll double park and give some picks out. Right, okay, thanks everyone. Continued apologies for the weird time of what's going on, but we'll probably get back to normal in January. Good luck with all your picks. Don't miss the next show because games coming thick and fast. But in the meantime, we will see you all down the road. Cheers.